y'all, this is BreenuhX. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, what is up? We have beauty, lifestyle, fashion content here, so be sure to subscribe if you're into that. So I'll be showing you how to create this costume. So I got these 2 scraps of fabric from Joann. I wrapped it around my arm and kind of winged it, and I want my fingers to show through, which is why I'm pulling it back. So cut the fabric even, but you can see I have 2 different lengths of fabric here. This is my first time doing this. I only know how to hand sew, barely. I don't even know how to use a sewing machine. But after creating this look, I use a sewing machine. So I got these pop gems, and this is from Joann's. I use this to make the belt, and I also have a foam sheet. I tried to make the little arm pieces as well, but I used a different one. So the foam sheet was this huge roll of foam sheet, and I used that to create my cuffs, the belt, and you can see I used metallic paint to paint over the gray because the gray was looking very dull. So I used a 200mm lens as my guide to cut this big circle because it's supposed to go on your belt. And to create the cuffs, I used a foam sheet, and I also did the same metallic paint color because this is based on Blackfire from the original Teen Titans. So here's the pops that I've actually ended up using. So these are like little eyeball things, little wiggly eyes, and I'm gonna paint those black, and that's gonna be my main piece. I looked up on Etsy how much they cost. This cost me, I think, $2.99. I looked on Etsy and it cost $20 just to get Blackfire's charms. Just to get her charms was $20 on Etsy. This is a cheap, easy DIY that you can do without having to spend a whole lot of money. So I painted the whole thing black, and now I'm creating the guide of where my neck should be. I just measured it around my neck, and I just winged it a little bit, and now I'm just going to cut it. I cut this a little bit wider than my actual neck just so I have more space to move around in my videos. So I'm just gonna cut that in like a little U shape. This foam sheet was, I don't even remember how much it was, but I used half a foam sheet. I think it was like $10 or I don't remember how much it cost. But use a little piece of foam if you have a piece of foam. I did half a yard of foam. Alright, now to wrap up the foam, this is going to be your main neck piece that Blackfire has. So just going to hand sew it around, and it's going to cover up those jagged edges that you see in the foam. So I just pin it down and hand sew because my sewing machine did not come until the next day, and I really wanted to create this look in time for Halloweeny. So be sure to follow me on Instagram at BreenuhX to see my looks from that. And stay tuned for part 2 because part 2 I'm going to show you how to do the makeup and how everything came together. It's going to be so cute. Okay, so I'm literally hand sewing it with the foam. So I kind of did like a way that's it's gonna go around it. So how I sewed it was I went around, and this way is good enough. No one's gonna see the back piece. It's fine. And right here I try to secure it, make a knot, just cut it off. There we go. So now to put on our pops on there, our wiggly eyes that we painted black so nobody knows that it was actually painted black. And I'm going to use some E6000, and I was very generous with the E6000, and I just pressed down for dear life. Just pushed down. See, I almost broke the thing. I pushed down so hard I almost broke the thing. I used some metallic paint, and I just created a little bit of accents to it. I just realized Blackfire has like an actual silver piece around her. This was inspired by Teen Titans. I'm gonna put a picture up so you guys can see. which Blackfire I was trying to do. It wasn't from Titans. It was from the original Teen Titans from Cartoon Network. I used to love watching that so much. I feel like everyone does Starfire, so I wanted to do Blackfire as something different. You know, because nobody really does Blackfire like that. So what I did with the arm piece, be very careful when you do this step, y'all. Do not stick yourself. And then I try to hand sew everything. It came out okay, but I feel like it could have been better. So you just have to keep watching because you'll see how I fixed that later on. So to actually put the pops on, I did the same thing with the glue. I made a little slit. Like I made a little guideline of where I want the arms to be cut. And then I cut it, took it off, cut it. See that? Snip, 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 snip. You just want to snip off the slits. And you're good to go. This way, you're way more comfortable putting this on anyway. And it has that nice detailed look to it. See, now it's very shiny. And I'm just gonna pop some E6000 on this part as well. And we are good to go. Okay, so how I created this belly piece right here, I just used my little rubber scissors as a guide. Created some pen marks because pen goes on this so well. So very well. I didn't have a marker, so you guys can use a marker, but the pen lines look cleaner, honestly. Unless you would use like a fine point Sharpie, like that one will look clean as well. So I just used this, and I just used like my little pack of thread as my little guideline. And yeah, this is gonna go on your belly, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want it to look a little bit symmetrical, you know, a little bit. Add a little bit symmetry, because when you wear it, it's gonna stretch out and everything, so. Three, two, one. So to create this little belly piece, like I said before, we're gonna stitch it with our little hand stitcher sewing machine. Okay, this is a skirt I got this from the mall at a store called Zara. If you guys really want to know where the skirt's from, sizes are weird, but this was on clearance. It was $12.99. Sizes are very weird in the store. They only have small or large. No in between, that's it. So I got a small. It fits tight. It fits tight. So if you want the tight look, this is the type of skirt to get. For the foam cuffs, this is how I made my little cute little foam cuffs. I just taped it with some tape because no one's gonna see the bottom anyway. And yeah, you guys could probably glue it, but the tape is easier for me because I can take it off easily. I want to be able to take off my looks very easily. So you could see where I did the little black detailing. Alright, so I finally got my sewing machine literally the next day, and I just sewed right over where I made my hand stitching. Like, I literally learned how to use a sewing machine. It took me like an hour to figure this out. Y'all, you see how these videos are short? It took me like 4 hours plus to create this look. More than 4 hours to create this look. Like, bruh. This is day 2. So, I'm going to show you right here how I created my shoe. Because Blackfire wears shoes. So you can't forget the shoes if you really want to go all out. So what I did was I used this little black stretch fabric over here, and I was showing you the material earlier to show you the soft part is the outside and the little jagged part with the texture in it is the inside. So you kind of want to sew it in the jagged part so you can flip it over later on. So right now I'm just creating that guide with the safety pins. These are not safety pins, with the, what are these pins called? I don't know. These little pins, these little eyeball pins. And I'm not going as tight, but you can go tighter if you want it to be tighter. But I kind of wanted to be able to take the shoe off very quick. Okay, so you just want to go all the way down. Be careful not to stick yourself. I'm not responsible if you stick yourself. Don't stick yourself, please, please, please. Okay, I was winging it over here, but I created this guide. Now we're in my mini sewing machine. If you really want to know what the sewing machine's called, comment down below. I'll let you know. This was $30 on Amazon. We did not have time for no $200 sewing machine. But I just learned how to stitch. I learned how to use bobbins. I watched some tutorials. Hopefully I'll be making way more looks than this. This is just the beginning. But you can see how I use those pins as a guide. And I kind of just sewed. But how I did it was I made it slightly bigger. Just so when I sew, it's not too tight on me. Alright, so to finish off the shoe grid, this little shoe right here, so this is supposed to be my toe part. Yeah, and I actually stitched on this belt piece to the shoe to kind of create that little cuff, because it looked like she had something on in her outfit that was silver over the shoe. So I just stitched that. Enjoy watching me stitch the rest of the shoe. Don't forget to cut it so it can come out. So you can see I'm still a beginner. I'm manually tying stuff when I should have just stitched back over it. So I used some chalk to kind of create a guideline of where I wanted the little bottom piece. Because if you look at Blackfire, the bottom of her foot, she has like a little silver piece at the bottom of it. So I use this scrap fabric and I am going to hand sew it on because I don't know how to use a sewing machine so that the stitching doesn't stick together. If that makes sense, like if I was actually stitching, it would have stitched the entire thing together instead of that one side I was trying to do, because I made this like a stocking. So I'm just gonna use some gray thread and put the shoe together. We're almost done with the look. Keep watching till the end, and if you got to this far, comment down a purple emoji if you got this far. Okay, so now I'm finishing up the stitching for that silver part that I was saying. I actually didn't want to stitch the top because I like this Balenciaga look. I call it Balenciaga, quote unquote, air quote, air quote. But yes, I would say for the bottom of the shoe, when you look at the bottom, it has excess fabric. So to keep this look seamless and to actually be able to wear the shoe, you have to add some grips to the bottom of the shoe if you know how, because I don't know how. But I would say don't cut it, because I hand sewed it and I tried to cut the foot of one of the other one, just cut like under it, and the whole thing just slipped right off the shoe. I wasn't able to get it on. So this is the nicest way to get your shoe on. You gotta be very careful. Don't slip, don't slide. But put some grips at the end. Put like a little bottom sole thing if you know how to put that on. I probably should have thought of that, but I didn't think of that. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about under the shoe. If you could just see like the little stitching right here. Don't cut under it because it will mess up the look. And for the belt, how I did it, I stitched a little bit, but I couldn't get it on. So I just taped the back. Alright, so this is the final look. Thank you guys for watching my part 1. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video for part 2. And enjoy my